and we are live. So we're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube as well. And streaming speed is great. Your guys' stuff is good. So, Coach David here with Metro Jiu Jitsu. Here I've got Master Krauss, and Professor Muhammad. How you boys doing today?
How are you, Coach?
I am fantastic. So we're gonna get. I know we plan to start at 2:30. Running a bit behind, and so I do want to get into this. We were just kind of talking shop with Master Krauss backstage, really about just kind of the history and what jiu-jitsu has become today. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into that. Master Krauss, you are. We were just talking about this. You have roots directly to Helio, and I'd love to talk about where you're from, who your father was. How you got into jiu-jitsu and kind of what your life looks like today, if you don't mind sharing some of that.
And what rank are you, Master Kraus? We got to hang out, and I learned a lot about you in a short amount of time over dinner, uh,
Cool.
so I got to hear it. But what rank are you? And you know, uh, tell us about yourself a little bit before we jump in.
So I'm from Rio de Janeiro, original from Rio. I don't live in Rio de Janeiro anymore. I live in countryside São Paulo, and I love being living there. It's a very quiet place. I lived there for 7 years already, and I'm a master 7th degree. I started jiu-jitsu for 2 years and a half old, 2 years old and a half, and I had no choice. Most of the kids when they leave the hospital, where they go as soon as they
Home.
born. Yeah,
Home.
not me, not me. My father took me to the gym. He laid me down on the floor on the mat. He threw his black belt on top of me, took a picture, and now you can go home. So
Really?
there's no choice for what I'm doing nowadays.
That and you seem pretty happy. I mean, like you don't seem upset about it. Obviously, you seem to be living your best life. What is that? Can you share a little bit about what that's like? Because I know you have a unique perspective. Obviously, you have a front row seat to really the root. I mean, like the founding of jiu-jitsu as Brazilian jiu-jitsu as it's become to be known, especially in America. Like you and your father had a front row seat to that. And I know like American parents, we're very careful not to like don't make your kid do things they don't want to do, and you're all smiles about it. So like what is that, how has that crafted your kind of path a little bit?
It's funny a question, David, because for one reason, uh, we were the first Brazilian jiu-jitsu school in the world to teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu for kids. Back in days, we
Wow.
have to understand that it was not a sport; it was a real fight.
Mm,
Master Hideo Grace, he didn't use even a black belt. He used to wear a blue belt, a navy blue belt. And all the students, most of them are fighting no hold bars. No hold bars because I have no rules. You just not gonna hit the groins. There was no time limit. There was no weight class category, weight class, no gloves, and you go there to fight. So what are the rules? No hit the groins, no fish hook, and no poke the eyes. Besides that, anything goes. If you want to do, if guys, if your opponent is laid down on the floor, you want to do a field goal on his face,
mm,
that's how they used to do it back in the days. So when they start to create the jiu-jitsu to be a sport for spread around the world, some rules start to appear. And everybody was against jiu-jitsu for kids. Besides Master Carlos Gracie, he had an idea that a jiu-jitsu could be helping kids in education. So one day my father said to Master Hiro, look, I have a program that I developed and I gotta teach on my class on my school. And Master Hiro asked, well, what is that? It's for kids. Are you crazy, Mansoor? You can teach kids to fight. Jiu-jitsu is too dangerous, too aggressive. And Master, go there. Actually, it was not Master back in the day, It was just Hiro, go there and check my class. If you say it's okay, I keep teaching. If you say no, I stop. My father was always very faithful to Master Hiro Grace, And
what?
also they had like a 65 years of a very good friendship. Master
Mm,
Hiro used to call my father, that's my son that don't have my name, that doesn't have my name.
sure.
Masahiro went to the school. He watched the class. He laughed a lot. He was had a very, how can I say, free laugh. No, and
Sure.
he said, "You know what, Monsieur, keep doing. That's awesome." And that's what happened. We are the first school
And
in
that
1963 to teach jiu-jitsu to
and
children.
that's how kids got started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's
So
amazing.
I'm just gonna ask what everyone's thinking. Like you being having a front row seat to, I mean that's violent, right? Like that's it was violent. It was quite
In the
violent. I
past,
mean
in
it
the
was a
past
bloody
was,
affair. I'm sure. Yeah.
in the past was.
Now what do you? I'm gonna ask just what everyone's thinking. Is jujitsu? Are you embarrassed into what jujitsu is becoming as a sport?
That's that tough question because I have a different perspective to
Sure.
talk about this. You
I'm
know,
just asking your
uh,
opinion. I'm not. We're not here to shade, but are you being able to see what it was, especially in Brazil, and seeing how bloody and violent? Because it was a self defense, right? And now it's become very. You have a much larger gathering of the sport,
yeah,
and so like we can all say, oh, this, that, but I wasn't there. I wasn't even. My parents weren't even a concept in someone's eye back then. So like I wasn't there. I can't say what it should be or shouldn't be. But like what, like as this is just an opinion.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna evaluate that using the side of what was jiu-jitsu in the past and was nowadays, definitely is not the same thing. It's a sport jiu-jitsu. It's nice. It's an amazing sport that you can work all your body. You can work your mind. You can work your spirit. It's amazing. But as a self-defense, we lost a lot. We have a lot of black belts that have no idea it was a self-defense. And sometimes I see that in Instagram, people saying, "Oh, you see, he did a beating bowl in the street. He did a half guard in the street, and he survived. He controlled his opponent in the street in a street fight. Probably lucky, you know, because always when you go to the ground on the floor, never your friends around. Always the other guy friends around to kick your face.
Of
It's
course,
funny
yeah,
that.
of
But when
course.
that happened, that's my opinion was like lucky, and the people put that on Instagram. But most of our black belts nowadays, they don't know self-defense. They don't know how to use this. We still having how to survive because our sport is very complete. We know to
Sure.
take downs, we know to make decisions short, we know to put on the floor, have how to control. But most of them, they don't know about that.
I
If you
wonder.
Master
ask me
Krause,
about the money, how did this spread around the world? That's unbelievable. I believe that Master Helio Grace and Master Carlos Grace, he didn't have the idea that Jiu-Jitsu is going to be so far all over the world. I travel a lot, you know. America outside, I was in Qatar, I was in Egypt, I was in Ukraine, and every place that you go, Jiu-Jitsu is a fever. It's amazing, amazing. It's surreal.
Master Krause, when did it start to turn from the self-defense into the sport? And did people like you who've been around a long time and your father, who's still around, did you guys see the shift is separating? Did you guys see it happening? Like when, why, and good or bad, it doesn't matter. But who was kind of like when it started to go different ways, who was the one to really go with the sport? Like, did you guys see it?
Professor Muhammad, I didn't see it because I was young, you know, but I think when we start to jiu-jitsu become bigger, when we start to become big and around the world, and many competitions are coming, many sports coming. A lot of people being specialized in jiu-jitsu for kids, for women, for we start to have a water division there. You know what I mean? So I believe there was much more competitions coming that start to change. For example, in Brazil, years ago, I'm saying like the 80s and the 70s, we had like a one state tournament per year and three or four different cups for the whole year. Nowadays, you can fight two, three tournaments per month.
Per month. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I believe that as much as sports start to grow around the world, we start to lose a little bit the idea for self-defense, and people are just focused in a sport, jiu-jitsu. That's amazing in a way. But now we have so
Yeah.
many masters and black belts. They're bringing the roots back. Okay, we can do that, but you need to know self-defense. We don't
Uh,
walk on the
How
street
did
with our butt on the floor. We walk on the street from standing up. And most of the jiu-jitsu fighters right now, they just know to fight with your butt on the ground. They don't know to do takedowns. Most of them. How you walk on the street? You walk scooting your butt like this on the street. You walk
I
from
yeah.
standing. You have
I
to
do
fight from
have
standing.
I do have a question though, and maybe this is as a society, because I have seen those videos, and look, I mean, I think, to be fair to the sport, is as a black belt in sport jiu-jitsu, they will body an untrained fighter um in the street, like I don't think there's any question in that. But was there more of a, I think, as a culture, at least American culture, without question, we have gotten softer than we're talking 80 years, right? We were talking about your father, 80 years ago, from the 40s, from the second wartime. Like, we just have gotten softer. Less people know how to fight. More people are physically unfit. Michigan, at one point, was number one. In obesity for the nation. So at least in Brazil, was there just was there an expectation for men to at least have a fundamental standard of hand-to-hand combat? And so that should you get in an altercation, which of course you want to avoid, that like there's a good chance whoever you were tangoing with, like they weren't just some chump, like they knew what they were doing. Has that changed culturally? And I understand two different countries, two different continents, but like, has that changed culturally in the past 70 or 80 years?
That changed a lot. That's changed a lot. I believe I was reading an article a couple months ago. They was saying that an obesity that came together as much as the start to spread fast food around America, around the world. We have fast foods in Brazil too,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the fast food start to make a lot of people fat. Obesity. That's how I say in
Yeah. So
English.
I'm going to translate for obese. So obesity spread at the rate that fast food spread. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
And a lot of things change. We have a phrase. I don't know if I'm going to translate that, but uh, tough tough moments
Hmm.
make tough guys. Hard moments make tough guys. Tough guys make easy moments. Easy moments make soft guys. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Soft guys make hard moments, and it's like a cycle. But if
Yeah.
we compare ourselves with the people from the 40s and the 50s, man, they are tough. They were tough. The kind
Yeah.
of a life that they
Very
used
much
to
so.
do, things that they used to do. I think the humanity is going for more soft area, even if they do sports. But if you get back, if you check some photos, some photographs in the past, people was like a fit. There's a lot
Fit.
of
Yeah. Very
labor,
active.
hand
Yeah.
labor, not like a workout labor. Nowadays we have to go to the gym because most of our jobs are what? Most of them sitting down behind a desk.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure in Brazil it's very much the same way. But we have a in Detroit. Obviously, our lineage is kind of like the Henry Ford, and you have that industrial kind of thing with the big three. And we have a spot here called Greenfield Village and Henry Ford Museum. You go there and see, like, to this day, like, you go there, I don't know, during the winter, but during the summer, like, they live, there are, I'm going to call them actors, they're volunteers. They lived how they would have lived in the 1890s or 1900s, and it's just they're raking manual labor from sun up till sundown. And you're right, like, you don't got to go to the gym, you're throwing bales of hay, you're milking you're doing whatever. Very active aspect of it. I want to touch base. You hinted at it, but yeah, I want to go into deeper. There was only, when jiu-jitsu first started, with Helios, like there was only two belts. There was white and a navy blue belt.
Yeah,
What did it take to earn a navy blue belt?
that's a good question. Why he wears the navy blue belt? Probably just to show that he was a different. He was a professor, the teacher there. I don't know how to answer that. I never asked my father why that was using a blue belt, a blue navy belt, in the gym, just to show that he was a professor. He was the big boss there,
Was
and
there
definitely he
other
was, and he
was there
was.
other yeah, sure. Yeah. Was there other arts? Was there like a karate or a tang sudo or a taekwondo around at that time?
In the 40s and the 50s was more very very well known in Brazil, the capoeira.
The dancing one?
You know,
Capoeira?
yeah, yeah. They
What?
they do like a dancing, but if you really watch them really fighting,
Yeah.
it's like a street fight, you know. But they do
I don't
some
know if
things
I've
like a
ever
more
seen
like
that.
more dance because the history says that they used to dance to don't show to the landlords there, the owners they were training to fight. It was just a dance, you know.
Uh
I don't accept that
oh.
version so easy, but that's what they say in the history. But they
What?
had a capoeira guys in the 40s and the 50s, a lot of street fights, and they always involved it. And that was the main focus on target for Master Helio and Master Carlos, challenging those guys to fight, real fight. In the 60s was a catch wrestling. We had some catch wrestling in
Mm.
Brazil. Americans guys going to Brazil, and Master Helio challenging them too. Some boxers, In the 70s was a karate, kung fu. 80s, our big enemy in Brazil was the Muay Thai.
Mm.
We had a challenge in Maracanãzinho. There's a little Maracanã, it's a stadium where Jiu Jitsu fought against the Muay Thai guys. There was Marcos Ruas fought against Master Marcos Ruas, fought against Grandmaster Fernando Pinduca. You know, in the 90s was the Luta Livre. With now friend, we are enemies behind before, and now we are
Sure.
friends with the Master Hugo Duarte. People call him the General. Now he's a friend. Now Jiu-Jitsu and Luta Livre walk together, but years ago in the 90s, we couldn't see each other in the street to start a fight.
So was the goal just to dethrone and delegitimize jujitsu through the decades? Like you're talking like you were under attack, like jujitsu was under attack with each decade. And then those boxers came in the 70s, and then those Muay Thai guys, and like the War of 1812. Like was that the goal? Is to just kind of everyone
No,
wants to see
I,
the king slain. Is that kind of what was happening there?
I understand what you're saying. It probably I really looked like there was that happening, but it was not that idea. What happened? We had a fight. Everybody was to fight with punches and kicks, and suddenly come a very skinny man, you know, a tall skinny man, and start to challenge everybody, and he's doing like a hug fight, hugging people.
Grappling. Yep.
People are like, what the heck is that? And how I gonna show to the world that my fight can beat you? I have to challenge people. And by the way, that was how my father ended up in the Master Healer's school training for him later. Because my father went there to challenge the Master Healer's students because Master Healer said that all judo guys was not man enough. And my father was a judo fighter back in the days.
Mm,
So he used to challenge people for promoted jiu-jitsu. It's a thing that nowadays it's not working anymore.
sure.
But in the past, it was very important to spread jiu-jitsu around the world. So that's why some martial arts arriving and make a lot of success for the Hollywood, or because it was a cultural area culture. So the challenge was necessary for we show to the world how jiu-jitsu could be more complete, how jiu-jitsu can be a real self-defense martial art.
So so at what point? Because a big debate a lot that happens with the belts too, right? Like, so you mentioned there's a lot of black belts that they don't really keep in mind with the self defense. They like to pull guard, or they're not playing with the strikes, and that there is a sport aspect to that. But there's also you've seen the development of the belt system, which your father created. I want to go into that a little bit. The adult belt system, and then furthermore the kids belt system. And a lot of people they're trolls primarily, but they say, "Oh, the belt system is a cash grab. If you're good enough, you're good." Like wrestling, American wrestling, there is no system. It's just shoelaces. Like you're just wearing shoelaces, and so they're always the ones that want to jabber jaw and say, "Oh, the belt system is garbage or whatever." But I'll also add this: they're quick to tell you who they wrestled for. D1. Well, D1's a rank, right? Like D1 is a rank of wrestling, right? D2 is a rank of wrestling. So
It's a belt.
Right. It's just a way to establish to recognize
Yeah.
growth. So as I mean, we've all been training long enough, me the least of which on this call of these three people, but long enough to know there needs to, jiu-jitsu's difficult enough. You need something, you need a carrot in front of you to keep you going, right? So what's your thoughts on the belt system from when your father created the adult belt system to where it is today, or in kids and all?
Yeah, my father created the whole belt system, from white belt until the black belt, and years later the master belts was my father creation too, from kids until master 6, master 7, whatever the category that I have. But let's go back a little bit here. What you understand as a martial art? What do you understand as a martial art?
What do I understand as a martial art? Like what do I
Yeah.
believe martial art should be? Martial
Yeah.
is military.
Actually,
Martial's
let me
military.
ask one thing. I did a wrong question.
Yeah.
From where the martial arts came from?
Oh, there you go. Well, that's like Cain killed Abel, and as the first four people, and that was it. Like that's when combat started. I don't know. I mean, where you
Came
go
from
back to
war.
ancient Greece, wartime. Yeah, martial is military. Martial art is
There we
military.
go.
Yeah,
There we
absolutely.
go.
Yeah.
If you have a martial art, you need to have hierarchy, discipline, respect, and the belts show this. You're not gonna call a black belt to train. The black belt calls you. Hey,
That's
let's
a
train.
cult. Americans are gonna call that a cult, Master Krauss. That's that. I'm a paying customer. You don't get to tell me who I get to ask for. Like that's cultic. That's what
Look,
they're saying.
I understand that, but I believe there's a marketing, is a market. You have your own business, and it depends how you show inside your business. If you not feel free, if you don't like what I'm showing, you have the totally free will to open the door and leave.
I agree.
But here inside of my school, that's how I work. And that's where I have skilled schools here around America. My father had a school here for 25 years, full of people inside. And the rules are like that. Respect. I know that now for
You
the
know,
cultures, go ahead, Mr. Muhammad.
it's funny you say that because I remember about 20, maybe 25 years ago. I was 25, 26 years old, and I had been doing martial arts for a while. And I remember at one of the schools, I asked the head instructor if we could do a round. We were doing sparring that day, and this was striking. And I'll never forget it. He said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And I'll never forget. Like I got beat pretty bad, and I got hit with some spinning head kicks and some axe kicks. It was very very, and he was a master at the time. He was probably about 40s, so he could still move a little bit. And but I'll never forget. Afterwards, somebody told me you're not supposed to ask the instructor to do a match. You're supposed to wait for them. And I genuinely wanted to learn from somebody good, and I didn't know. And my lesson into respect into martial arts was about 25 years old, where you don't ask them because that's kind of what could happen.
I
So,
never. Now that I'm thinking about this, I don't. That was never taught. It was never told to me. And where he came out. I mean, that wasn't a thing. Like we could ask Danny and Anthony for matches anytime we wanted. but like we usually
When you
didn't,
become a
right?
friend, when
Yeah,
you become a friend, it is. But if you're not a friend,
yeah,
for example, oh, I don't accept this, I'm paying for this. Okay, but when American guys go to the Marines or to the Army or to the Air Force,
mm,
they have to salute the highest rank. They can be
yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
friends. They can talk inside the barrack. They can talk in a nice way, like a teasing each other. But as soon as you go outside, you're the sergeant gunner and I'm the corporal. Sir, yes, sir, no,
Yeah.
sir. You
That's a
understand
good
what I'm
point.
saying?
you know,
Yeah.
I
That's a
think
good
I
point.
think it's a hard, it's a very well, Americans are rebellion. We were born out of rebellion, right? So like we kind of like don't really sit. That doesn't sit well for us. Number one, I
All
think
the
too.
New World born as a rebellion. Brazil,
Yeah,
same
that's
thing.
sure, sure, sure. I
All the New
think
World.
it's you know it's there's always we could talk. Well, I mean, we could talk about that. Let's talk about the business aspect of jujitsu. You know, I know and on our list of
Let me just
topics.
finish one. Just to finish that point here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know that some schools does some way, other schools do other way.
Mm-hmm.
Always depends how you show to your students
Sure.
what are the rules inside the gym.
Yeah. Sure.
Don't forget that the student is going to be the flash and mirror of the professor or the black belt. The black belt is a, how can I say that, alive without being rude. If he's not a good guy, okay, the student's not going to be a good guy.
Mm,
If the
sure.
professor's a good guy, the student's going to be a good guy.
Yeah.
If the professor's respectful, the student's going to be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
If
Sure.
the professor's not respectful, disrespectful, the student's going to do the same. And I guarantee many guys, when they go to school and they don't feel comfortable there because they don't approve the rules, they leave it. They don't come back. Every just for you show who is who inside the mat and your knowledge. Oh, belts are not nice. Okay, but they have the divisions. It's the same thing.
Mm. You know, I
It's
think
more a pedagogical way to show.
say that again.
It's like a pedagogical way. Oh, you're a white belt, you know this. Now you're gonna go a blue belt, you're gonna have to learn this. And now you go to a purple belt, you're gonna learn more this. That's pretty much. It's like a show the level that you are. Doesn't mean that a blue belt cannot beat up a brown belt or even a black belt.
Sure.
Doesn't
Sure.
doesn't mean that. But the black belt knows more than you, a blue
Sure.
belt. But a blue belt's a big guy, 300 pounds, jacket, strong as hell, 20 years old, and the black belt's a 55, 60 years old, black belt, man. You know what I mean? One thing is the
Sure.
knowledge, other thing is how you can fight.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like if you run a school, right? Like, and here's the thing, every business has standards and expectations. If I walk into a restaurant topless, they're not going to serve me unless it's on like, I don't know, Laguna Beach or something. I don't know. But like if I'm just walking down, here in Detroit, like it's not going to, they're not going to serve me. And I could say, "Oh, well, I'm a paying customer." Right. You're a paying customer. Dude, we went to this spot, like they wouldn't serve me with my hat on. They're like, "Yeah, you can't wear a baseball cap." I was like, "What?" I was pissed, dude. I was like, "What do you mean you want like I was so angry, but they didn't budge. They're like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "Do you have it?" I didn't do my hair or anything, and I was like, "Do you have another hat?" They're like, "No, we don't have loner hats here, you hillbilly." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna go somewhere else." I don't.
Yeah, Master Krauss, do you think that what David was just saying is that coming more from the culture and the people and the times that we're in, or is it because of the sport? Do you think that's more because, like, people, they're not as hungry, they're not as hard, they're not as like
Mm,
old fashioned, and they don't understand roots of martial art, or is it more sport created that?
That's a good question. That's a good question. That can be for culture. I don't know. No, but one thing that I know is one thing. I'm gonna try to answer your question, analyzing other thing. How many guys nowadays they don't know the history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? They don't know who is who. They just
I
know
know,
the.
yeah, I had to
They
answer
A
and
just
lot.
receive my
know
blue
those
belt.
guys right now. They're competing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
Yeah.
next 10 years, they're gonna know who are they.
No.
Probably, maybe.
You
Who
know
knows?
why?
I probably know
They
Gordon.
don't know.
Don't know Greg.
They don't
Craig.
know. You can ask a lot of Brazilian guys was the champions that have fought against Mark Kerr, and all. If they're not in the media, people don't know their names. You know
That's
why?
true.
Because unfortunately, in Brazil and in America, people are not telling their history. They're not telling, hey, I am John. I came under Master Joey, and Master Joey came under Master Peter, and that what happened. That's what's gonna happen. That's why I'm here today. They don't know that. They don't tell the stories. They don't tell history. It just
Does
You're
like
very
they don't
right.
have no history. You don't have if you have a history, you don't have a country. Now, for a country that don't have your own history, they're gonna make the same mistakes. You need to know
what
your history. You need to know
what
from where you
You're
does
come
right.
from.
You're absolutely right.
Have
how do,
respectful.
how does that how does me knowing the
Let me,
history
let me
like I had to look, they made me know, they I literally had to Google who Maeda was. Like if I want a blue belt, they're like, yo, you got to know who Maeda, you got to know these guys, right? And I was like, this seems kind of silly, for my blue belt. But how do
I have a I have a question on that.
yeah, okay, go ahead
Uh,
first,
so,
Mo. Yeah.
yeah, sorry to cut you off. Talking about the history, Master Krauss, at what point in the history of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu were women introduced? And at
Yeah.
what point was it early? Was it middle? Was it later? At what point were they introduced? And at what point was it very clear to like the people that are basically the babies of jujitsu like you, that it was clear that women are now going to start to come with jujitsu? Was it like recently, 20, 30, 40 years?
I remember, Professor Muhammad, I remember women going to the school more to do self defense. In the end of the 80s, we start to have more women practicing jiu-jitsu, but it was like let's say, a class of a woman, like a 10, 12 girls. That's it, in the big schools. In the
Yeah.
90s, it started to become very popular in the 90s. And now, girls, the sky is the limit. You have like many women practicing jiu-jitsu, some tough girls. And my father liked to say that. My father used to say, I prefer watching girls fighting than boys. I said, why? Because girls they don't have the same power physically as a guy. So the girls have to use the real technique for that really
Mm,
works.
Sure.
If you watch a girl fighting, it's much more technical. They don't have the same explosion as a man. So they are very technical. The small details make a big difference for them. There's a
yeah.
pure jiu-jitsu
Good
there.
point. Good point.
That's what I think. Like you get those featherweight matches. Same thing. Like those guys are, in the gym. They're every match they're giving up 40, 50 pounds, and then they go out there and they're getting someone their weight, and it's like that's like a Jedi
Yeah, but
battle
get a
there watching
featherweight
that.
guy fighting against a featherweight girl.
Oh, yeah, for
Compare
sure.
both fights. The
Yeah,
guys are most more explosive. They
of
have
course.
power. Even being a light guys, they fight against the light guys. You know, woman doesn't matter if they are heavy or if they are middleweight or they're light. Always they're gonna try to use a lot of technique.
I have two questions. One, and I always try to keep an objective sort of like I like to ask the questions that some of our listeners might be asking, because I have a good pulse on a lot of our member base, other schools. Why does, and I'm in a lot of Facebook groups where they they raise hell a little bit. Why does the history of jiu-jitsu, how does the history of jiu-jitsu and knowing my coach's lineage, how does that benefit me as a grappler? And if I'm coming in and I'm looking for fitness or to get in shape, like, is that really necessary? Those things, and like I understand first, the legacy of it and the respect for those who came before you. I think it was Isaac Newton says, I see further because I stand on the shoulders of giants, right? Meaning like the people who came before him. So I understand that. I understand that portion of it, but like as for the a very jujitsu is rapidly becoming more and more mainstream. Well, how is that like? How is that important? Like, or why is that important? I should ask. Respectfully, of course. I'm not trying to down. I'm just asking on their behalf because someone's gonna ask. Like what do
No,
I care about
okay.
these people?
I gotta go for the military people again.
Yep.
Why the military people works? Because they have respect. They know who is who. Why the gang doesn't work? The strongest is gonna be the leader. As soon as the stronger leaves or somebody defeat him, he's not the leader anymore. They have a chain of a command. They have respect. Doesn't matter. I can be a special force, but I'm a sergeant. When I see a major, I gonna salute him. So you, a history teacher, Coach David,
Am I a history teacher?
yeah, American history teacher,
I enjoy history. I don't teach it. I
but
don't
you're
teach
not
history.
okay. Why I ask you this? Why you are not a American history teacher? Why
I
did you
don't.
learn history in school?
The answer that they will tell you is so that you don't repeat it. History repeats it. You learn so history doesn't repeat itself.
For you
I
learn
have a
from where
different
you
answer
came
than that,
from.
but
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You're
yeah.
what's
gonna
that?
learn where you came from, why
Yeah,
your country is what it is, how you
yeah,
guys became the first potential in the world. That's important. That's make a
yeah,
nation. If I don't know from where I came from, who am I? I'm just one more grappler. That's what happened in
See, I
some
don't.
schools.
I
I'm not
don't
gonna say
know.
names here,
Yeah.
but the people
Yeah.
have no respect. So during the time you're the badass there, okay, everybody respect you. When you get old, nobody gonna respect you because you're not gonna be the badass anymore. I never saw in a school that I have discipline, respect, the student go turning to his teacher and being respectful. But I saw that a lot of schools like that, they don't know the histories, they don't do that. First class, they start to learn the heel hook. They don't know even how to fall on the ground. First class, heel hook. I see a lot of problems there. And I have friends that are training all those places, and they say, Krauss, when you go there, you go for the dungeon of dragon, the dragon's dungeon. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You never know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. You never know what's gonna happen. It's the atmosphere, the environment's tense.
Mm,
You don't go there to do a fight, learn to fight, and do a good match. Man, sometimes you go there, you know what's gonna happen. If you're gonna survive or not. Some places like that, I am there working out, doing my warm up, and suddenly Big Mike arrive. Oh, Big Mike is here. I go to the locker room, change my clothes, and I leave.
do you think some of that
You understand what
the
I'm
law?
saying?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
How
Do you
how
think
do you
some
how
of
do you
that?
how do you know to avoid Big Mike? Sorry, Mo. So how do you know to avoid Big
Go
if
ahead.
you're visiting or you're I dig it doesn't matter. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
No. What I'm saying, sometimes the Big Mike, you want to avoid him, but Big Mike not going to avoid you because you know they can kick your ass all the time.
Oh, I
He doesn't like
I
you. You
see.
don't
I see.
like him, And oh, Big Mike arrived, he going to hurt me again. He going to
I
call me to
got you.
train. He going to challenge me to train, and he going to beat me up for no reason. I'm going to tap it. I'm going to let it go. You know what I mean? He going to leave the
Gotcha.
elbow and passing the guard on my face. I don't want to do that. I want to be go
Yeah.
for a place where
I
I have
see.
tough
I
match,
see.
but
I see.
respectful.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
think part of that came from the loss of respect is related to making money in jujitsu and turning it into a business? Because obviously, it's like McDonald's. The more people that want a burger, the more McDonald's you have to open up. And do you think any of that comes from that? That like, well, we need more schools. More people are asking, so more people are opening schools. Do you think it's coming from that? And also tell us about the evolution of just the schools. Then we went from schools to like product lines, and then jujitsu instructionals, and even more. So tell us about that. What you see, and if that initially started, in your opinion, from the lack of respect and forgetting our roots where we come from the business side.
Uh, I'm gonna use the McDonald example that you just said right now.
Yeah.
For I try to make a comparison here, try to make compare, but If you want more hamburgers and they have a McDonald's, okay. The problem when the different fast food chains start to appear. Oh, Burger King, no, good enough. You know, Burger King's
Oh
good enough.
boy.
But if
Oh,
somebody have
you,
like
So
some
so
food chain,
who's the Burger King in this analogy then? Who's the
nah,
no,
Burger?
I don't know.
He's
there
like
is
I'm
no
not
Burger
allowed to
King.
call
There
them
is
out.
none.
I'm
But
There
Burger
is
not.
King,
none. That's
Burger
the
King is
point.
okay. That's not a Burger King. They're big companies. The problem is
Uh,
when small ones start to appear. Some companies are just local. You don't know where they came from.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the
So
other
we've
guys,
seen
Oh,
they
that.
start to do
that's so,
different things.
bro. That's so ahead of the time. I mean, I hope the viewers can understand what he just said because there is no Burger King, and that makes a lot of sense. But anyway, go ahead, Master Kraus.
So, in your question, so I answered that question first. Why that's happening nowadays?
Yeah,
So, if you just have a Burger Kings and McDonald's and what else is big also, and a Subway, for example, it's okay. But
Subway,
a small company,
Wendy's,
Wendy's, but you start
Whataburger.
to have some
Yeah,
small places appearing locally. You know, just we have just there, just on the city or just in that state, and they start to make a lot of noise. You know, start to call attention, and they come from nowhere. They are they use it to do catch wrestling, wrestling, uh, street fights, and they mix everything and they bring everything together. Anything against that? Have nothing against that. But you cannot forget that you do a martial art. Martial art have respect. Martial art have a discipline. You know, if you're not, one more time, you lose the control.
You, I think it's interesting. Your what you're getting at is you're you're saying that, correct me if I'm wrong, is you guarantee the authenticity of the jujitsu based upon your lineage, because every coach, every instructor, if they're going to promote every belt they promote, I know Muhammad and I, like, we sometimes we'll get in
argue.
arguments. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
we
get in
argue.
argument. Yeah, we'll get in arguments over like someone getting a belt, like because what I don't want, I'd rather have one of my blue belts sit at blue belt for a minute or purple sit at purple for a minute before
That's happened a lot.
they travel, and then they go and get dusted by Mikey the freak white belt, like that. Like I don't want them wearing my banner on their back getting dusted. So that you kind of want to protect that a little bit. But I have also seen, to your point, in CrossFit, like jujitsu is a brand. I think if you look at it like that, jujitsu is a brand. It's just
I
not
agree.
It's just not copyrighted. And so, like, if I were to, like, let's just say Muhammad and I were like, yo, hey, we're doing Metro CrossFit now. We can't we can't start marketing CrossFit. Not unless we'll get a letter from the lawyers as a cease and desist minute 2, and they're like, you can't use the word CrossFit. Like, you're not allowed to use it because it's brand, because
It's true.
it's a brand, right? And you need to get to pay obnoxious fees through that. But I have seen, and we have seen, I don't even know who, like, but they'll just throw jujitsu on their front window, and I'm like, Mo, who's the coach over there? He's like, I don't know. You don't know who's coaching it. They've just, they download some YouTube videos. They might watch Danaher's instructionals, and they get their blue belt online. No disrespect, whatever. And then now you're coaching it, right? And so I think to me, what makes sense is you protect the integrity of it. In theory, I think in theory, that's cool. But then there's also continuing education that goes on as well. There's a continuing education as well. What to the point of jiu-jitsu being a business? What is where do you see the landscape of jiu-jitsu academies going? Is it going to go to the way of what karate and taekwondo did in the 80s? Is it going to flare up real quick and then kind of dust out, or where do you see it? Where do you see it going, Master Krauss?
That's a good question. Before I go to this question, answer this, if you allow me, you're talking, I was thinking here.
Yeah.
You know, when I saw the problem in jiu-jitsu about the belts and about the non respectful and all the things like this, that's my opinion, of course. I can be
Of course.
wrong. I can be right. We never know. When the people start to give you belts just because you're a tough fighter,
Mm.
you know, not because I'm a world champion, I'm gonna go to the black belt. I know a lot of black belts, but a lot of black belts, they're not world champions. But if you put that world champion and this guy that's not world champion, black belt, and start to compare the attitudes like a man, a lot of world champions are not there. So a
What do you
black
mean?
belt,
What do you mean the attitudes of a man?
you be respectful, you be provider for your family, you defend the weak people, you're not being trouble, you know what I mean?
You are so you're everything. You're saying a lot of controversial things in American culture right now, Master Krauss. Just while I agree with them, a lot of people,
Yeah, but
that's
that's
a
what I'm saying.
tough
It's
pill. It's a
opinion.
tough pill for American to swallow. I think
It's our opinion, It's our
sure.
opinion.
Yeah,
But the rest of the world that I travel, I know I live in America for a lot of years. I come here every year.
of
So
course.
always depend on how and one more time, where and how you show that and how you teach.
Mm,
I know a lot of schools. I travel, I do seminars in a lot of schools, and they do the same thing, a lot of respect inside, you know, belts and blah blah blah. I have to bow to get in the mat, have to bow to get out, you know. But that's one thing that was Hayden Grace. He was Hyam Grace's son. He was saying the other day in the podcast. I was watching his podcast. He say like, nowadays you just receive your belt because of your merit as a fighter, not for your character, not for your personality.
mm,
Everything has to be together. You know,
mm.
everything has to be together. For you get a black belt, not just because you're tough. That's why in jiu-jitsu, back in the days was 18 years old. Now is a 21 for you to become a black belt because you have to be respond for your acts,
Mm,
respond for your attitudes, respond for the problems that you can cause. In the law, that's pretty much in Brazil.
sure.
You consider 18. How can I say that in English? Uh, Mayor age
Ma-
above 18.
Yeah, yeah. You're no longer a minor. You're as an
A
adult.
minor,
And
yeah,
Minor.
exactly.
yeah, yep.
So now it's a 21. So for you to receive your black belt, not just because you were the winner, that's how I think. You know, not because
Is
I
that
think, oh, he's a black belt now, just because he won. Okay, and the rest. One thing that I don't agree, me, I don't agree. Like, oh, I gotta give the belt for him on the podium.
what
You know,
what
he is pur-
why don't you what if the character of the man or the grappler was there even before they won though? What's your hang up on that?
oh, I lost for him. He was cheating. He was a purple belt already. I'm a blue. He just got his purple belt now.
I have seen. The losers can use that as a cop out, but that's a them problem. If you want to be like, well, I
Yeah, that's what I'm
lost.
saying. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
agree. They're not my students. I never gonna give a belt for the students in the podium. I never did that. I never gonna do it. I gotta do it inside the gym. He's proven me that he's able. Doesn't matter if he's a world champion or not. I have students a world champion, national champions, Pan American champion, and never gave the belt to them on the podium. They
Is
have
it
to show
because
me other things too.
Yeah, which we agree with, right? Like, we agreed like with the character. But it sounds like you're against podium promotions because you don't want the losers to like be like, oh, he was sandbagging, she was sandbagging, he was running this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not nice. That's
yeah,
not nice for you that receiving the belt.
sure, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wait for the
yeah.
next tournament. Oh, I want this one now as a purple belt. Next one, I'm there for brown belt. Oh, he got the brown belt. Everybody gonna talk about it.
Mm.
You
That's
know.
yeah,
But you asked me
flavors.
something. Huh? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I said different flavors. What I did ask, what's the land? What do you think the landscape is of jiu-jitsu schools? Are they just gonna like CrossFit's another one. They it sparked up. It was everywhere, and I don't even know who does CrossFit around us. Mo, Fighting Fit maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
There's a place in Allen Park,
Oh, that's right. That's
Downriver.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
CrossFit.
Yeah, Downriver CrossFit. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Well, what do you think? What do you think, Master Krauss?
That's a tough question. I have some friends that they believe in the future The next 10, 15 years, jiu-jitsu is going to be all over the place, like a karate and taekwondo. I said right, taekwondo in English?
Close.
Taekwondo, yeah.
Taekwondo. Taekwondo. Yeah.
Taekwondo. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Portuguese, say taekwondo. Taekwondo. Um, some people believe that. Some of my friends, black belts, they believe in this. Other ones, they say that no. Because as soon as you start to have more people practicing, you start to, at the same time, uh, doing a better choose. You know what I mean? You have how to compare. Hey, the way that he teaches is not so good. He's better. I like the way that he teach.
Sure.
How many tough fighters they cannot be good teachers? I know a lot. I know a lot. They're
Yeah.
amazing fighters, but what they're teaching. And one thing you have to remember, Dave, they're gonna get old one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're the tough man. Now you're the bullet flying out for your gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're the killer now. But you're gonna get old. What's gonna happen when you get old? You just know to fight. Do you know to teach? Can you be a good teacher? No, I can't, and I know a lot. So what happened? They disappeared.
You
People
know,
start to forget about them, and they
You
start
I
to
know,
teach for 30 students, 20 students inside his
yeah.
gym.
Yeah, I think
So
a lot of I think there is more schools popping up, and the right people with the right attitude and respect for martial arts, not just jujitsu, but just respect for martial arts. And you have, like you said, you have to deserve it on and off the mat. And I think that we are going to see a lot of schools pop up, and we're also going to see a lot of schools close because once they see that it's the business of making sure that people grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. If you don't have the balance, then something's out of whack and your business is not going to be correct. And some people don't understand that and they only want to grow physically.
I
And
agree.
yeah, and if you don't have that, then you're not going to be around. So you've seen the cycle of jujitsu go from here all the way up, right? If you had to look into the future, in your opinion, we're going to see more schools open, we're going to see more school closes. If you had to guess in another 20, 30, another generation, 30, 40 years, what's it going to look like and who are going to be the ones that survive? What's jiu-jitsu going to look like and who are going to be the ones that survive?
In my opinion, I'm gonna be back for the respectful, you know, for the respectful place. Who knows to teach well, who had order inside your gym, who have the discipline that show that you organize it. And nowadays, people looking for practical things and organized people because the world is a mess. I can
Yeah,
use my gym in Rio de Janeiro. I have a gym there. The professor that I take care of now is Professor Vinicius Vieira. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's a lightweight. He's now is a master, master two. Not a master one anymore, master two. But until last year, he's a lightweight class. He was no gi, first one for IBJJF, and the open division, being a lightweight, was the fifth for IBJJF.
Hmm.
wow,
Finally, no gi, you know. So he has a school there. There was a headquarters before the Kyoto headquarters. As soon as my father and me we moved to countryside São Paulo, that's not a headquarter anymore. Now it's a Kyoto Tijuca. That's the brand, the branch there. Now Kyoto Tijuca is the neighborhood area. So at the beginning, we just us there. Kyoto was the only school in this area in Tijuca. And then my father gave some black belts for some of his students. One or two, they decided to open his own schools and they start to move around. So now, if you go to the area there, I was counting the numbers of Professor Vinicius. Is around 30 different schools in a 3 miles distance.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah,
In
yeah,
3
You go and
miles?
check the classes, 20 students. He has two classes per day, 20 students, 30 students, 15.
At each
And you
class.
go to Kyoto. We go to Kyoto, over 200. But many schools around, and we still having more students than everybody else. And some big names too. But why? Because we provide people what they're looking for. You're gonna learn to fight jiu-jitsu, respectful. You're gonna learn the technique. You're gonna compete if you want it. If you don't want to have to compete, you know, they know exactly what they can expect from us. You are here today. Tomorrow, the next 6 months, you're gonna learn to do this, and that. You got it? I got it. We have a system. My father was the first man in the world to write down a system from the white belt until the black belt, and every year he changed. He does some. He's still studying till nowadays. My father just knows to talk about jiu-jitsu, nothing else. That's his life. That's his life. It's funny. And until nowadays, sometimes that, hey, you know the purple belt classes there? I say, yeah. I was thinking that's sweet. We can do this way now. It's much easier. Yeah, I never thought about that. You know. So let's change that. So our system is always changing. You know, there's not the whole jiu-jitsu position there because it's impossible. But they have our base. That's our base, and the student have to know that. So because
So
we have a program, that's all what I think that are gonna be the difference in the future. You know, you be organized. You have a program. The students know exactly what expected from you. That I believe that are gonna be the big question nowadays. But we're gonna have every time more people trying to go to jiu-jitsu. And like Professor Muhammad said, a lot of people opening and a lot of people closing the schools. They don't
y-
have this. Just think that to teach jiu-jitsu, just have to have a mat and go inside and teach you techniques and fight.
yeah.
It's not that. It's
Yeah.
much more than this.
You know
Much more than this.
there's we just had just yesterday I sent Muhammad there's a wrestling club that opened 2 miles from us, and I honestly I was excited about it because I had planned like match up, like I was like I'm into wrestling, and I went in there. It looked abandoned. I mean, they had closed up shop, opened the doors, closed the doors under a year, and it was not a small investment. And I was like, man, that's. And so I called the coach that I know, who was connected with it. I was like, dude, what happened? He's like, man. And there's a book called The E Myth Revisited, and it talks about business owners, and you have in every business you've got the technician, you have the manager, and then you have the owner. And there are a lot of black belts and grapplers and competitors who are phenomenal technicians. They have no business owning a business, right? Like they have no business opening up a school. They have no business. They have no business even talking to people. Like there are some that I'm not sure I'd want you around my wife or daughter. Like there are not all of them. I mean, far majority of coaches, black belts, great people, right? But to your point, can they communicate things well? Are they organized? Are they? And then to even the business aspect of it, I don't know how things are in Sao Paulo, but like stuff's not getting any cheaper here in
No,
Michigan.
not. No. Our president's not a good person at all.
Yeah,
But
well, sure.
the
Yeah,
president
yeah,
of
yeah,
Brazil, it's terrible. But just for what you said right now, Coach David, was exactly what I said before, but you went much more deeper than I did, you know?
sure.
So I can be an amazing fighter, I can be the world champion, 10 times world champion.
Yeah,
One day, I'm gonna get old. I'm gonna have knee problems, shoulder problems. The
yeah,
age is not gonna make me get younger and fighter better. You know what I mean?
sure.
I'm gonna be bad. So, do I know? Do a nice class, organize a class? Do I know talk to the parents, talk to the clients? Do I know make my book, my financial book at the end of the month?
Sure.
Do I know how I'm marketing about my school? One day your name gonna be a little bit forgotten. You're not gonna forget Mitsuyo Maeda, Master Hilo Grace, Master Carlos Grace, Rickson Grace. You know what I mean? But you gotta forget. You know what? Let me ask one thing. Do you know what are the others Master Hilo Grace brothers' name?
I do not. No.
Ah, you see what I'm
I
saying?
do. Like as soon as he's like, "Let me ask you one thing," I was like, "The answer's gonna be no." Like, I thought you were gonna ask me, who won Worlds in 2004, which I also can't tell. I'd guess, I
That's what
could
I'm
guess,
saying.
I could guess, but
Once you're gonna be forgotten. One day you're gonna be forgotten. If you're not in the media, so the other Master Healers race brothers, people forget the name, but they don't know. They don't forget Master Healer, Master Carlos. Why? Because Master Healer fought against a lot of people. Master Carlos was his mentor, and there was living there. There was always in the media. People talk about them.
sure,
But
of
how many
course,
world champions that I know, they made amazing fights in the past. I know they nowadays they teach like inside a playground on the building where they live. They have a room there. Always the students there's a 20, 15 guys, 30 guys. They don't live from jiu-jitsu anymore because they don't have how to do that.
sure,
But they were amazing fighters and people don't talk about them.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of in schools is it's not for everybody, and they're obviously not as profitable because it's like having a big family, and the bigger family, the more problems you have. The bigger family, the more people you have to manage. So owning a school is, from experience, I can tell you it's not as profitable, but it's rewarding if you enjoy helping and working with people. But
Yes.
how about the other ways to make that you see making money and revenue in jujitsu? What advice would you give to people that are, even maybe blue or purple and brown, black, and they're coming up and they're like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life, and it's growing so mainstream that they're like, I don't ever heard of this guy. He's got it instructional, or this person has his T-shirts line or something. Like, what advice would you give to them seeing it from such a big picture from beginning till now for the future generations?
Interesting way to ask right now, Sir Mohammed, because I teach on the post graduation course in Brazil, and the subject that I speak, I have MBA marketing, you know. I'm talking about who is your client. Now, for example, first thing that I have to do, let's straight to answer your question. I'm gonna say what I was thinking here. Uh, May I have to compete? It's good. If you want to open your gym, it's good to have some competition experience. Oh, do I have to go to the podium? Even better. The first three places, if you're there, that's good for you. But you have to understand that you have to prepare yourself. You have to study, not just jujitsu. You have to study about business. So the first mistake a lot of people do is like, oh, I'm gonna have my own gym and I'm gonna do self defense or I'm gonna do MMA classes here because I come from MMA class, but I'm gonna build an area just for kids class. If you check, we can have the exceptions, but most of the MMA gyms they are not very famous for kids. They have very few kids there.
sure,
So do you know really who is your client? You know, oh, I'm gonna have self defense. Good, self defense. A lot of women looking for self defense. Now we're gonna have a special class just for the kids. The mothers are here training, and on the area they are gonna have self class, jujitsu class for kids. Man, you know who's your client.
Can
You know
you
what I
learn
mean?
jujitsu? Can you learn jujitsu by instructionals only or online only?
Tough question. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't
Uh,
think so. I
as
understand you as a black belt, for example, Mohammed. Let's do me, you, and Coach David once a month. Let's do a webinar inside the mat because you guys are Detroit. I'm down in São Paulo, and let's switch some techniques. Great, you're a black belt already. Coach David's a black belt too. Coach David,
yeah.
are you a
yeah,
You
black
said
belt
you
too?
said, am I? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yes.
you guys are black belt. We can share techniques because we are graduated already. We're doing our post graduation. Let's put it this way. We can switch information by webinar. But a guy that will be developing is going to learning how what's jujitsu. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Another question. Another. I know we only got a couple minutes left, but no disrespect. I met the man. I talked to him. Very nice, respectful, amazing. Uh, Without no disrespect there, but if you Gordon
Oh,
Ryan's
the coach,
professor, yeah,
the coach.
yeah, the coach, is
Huh.
he because they put him on a pedestal and he is
Dog,
so
he's got
far
like a
so smart.
master's in philosophy or something. I'll let
David,
Master Krauss answer. Okay,
thank you.
that's dog.
I have my opinion,
Professor Mohammed,
but
he's
yeah,
he's a good coach. He is.
yeah,
So he has some good students, you know. But let's talk. I know that a lot of people are gonna hate that. I'm not saying that I don't like Gordon Ryan. I
yeah,
I have a lot of, how am I gonna say, I bow to him. He's amazing when he's doing no gi.
Sure.
But
yeah.
he has extra help. This is fair.
What do you? Oh, I see, I see.
Yeah,
But as
You
far as
know,
the coach goes,
so
I
does
mean, do
everyone
you
he's
think?
facing, though. So does
he
everyone he's
he
Well,
facing
just
has help.
he just fight no gi. No
okay,
gi, my opinion, if you are strong, sweat a lot, and have a good sprint, you can be a good fighter.
yeah, that's true. Okay,
Just to remind you, the last ADCC, most of the guys that was the champions there, they're from Jiu-Jitsu.
Sure.
70%, something around 70% of the champions of the ADCC was from Jiu-Jitsu gi. 30% no gi. They train
mm,
gi the whole year.
yeah,
You have Gordon Ryan that's kick everybody butt there, but just Gordon Ryan. You cannot rule the world with Gordon Ryan. He's an amazing
yeah,
fighter. His
yeah. He
personal
is.
quality, his personal
Yeah,
quality. But if you have 10, 15 guys like this, I can say, yo, you are the coach. But
yeah.
I have one, two guys.
You
I
know,
don't know.
I think
This is my
there's
opinion, but go ahead, David. Go ahead.
well there's an entertainment aspect to it as well. I mean, like you've got thanks to social media and YouTube. I mean, there's an entertainment aspect to these guys like Craig and Gordon and Keenan and Ryan, Nicky Rod, and like a lot of these guys. Like, there's an entertain. It's all. I almost view it as like a Jersey Shore episode. Like you're just watching this kind of these interactions amongst these. So there's an entertainment aspect to that side of the sport as well. And regarding Gordon's help, everyone else that he's going against is on gear too, though. Like, so it's like he's just trying to keep up. He's just trying to keep up with it. My
Well,
opinion.
this my opinion on that is, uh, if you have somebody who works very hard and you have a committed coach and they follow exactly what their coach wants them to do, you are going to get a large amount of success, way more than the average and above average person, because a coach understands he's coaching somebody else, and the success of the student is based on the mind, the creativity of the coach, and it's not about motivation. It's about a combination of things. So if you take students like that, they will achieve an extra amount of success. Work hard, be
I
committed
agree.
to the coach, and not questioning. There does come a point when the student and the coach, they're starting to bounce ideas around. How do you see this? And how do you see this? And but as a general rule, to achieve success, you can make an amazing coach out of an amazing student.
I agree. Totally. Totally, bro. We're on the same page.
Yeah,
Or you trust in your coach or you don't trust him.
yeah,
You're
Sure.
not going to win all the fights. Until you start to win all the fights, you're going to lose a lot of fights.
yeah,
But you have to believe in your coach. Believe in the methodology. Believe in what he's teaching
yeah.
you. Believe that he's preparing you to get there. You know?
And I
So
think that
imagine.
goes into culture.
Yeah,
Well,
probably. I agree.
that's a big. I mean, that's a big part of the culture, right? Like you have to. I mean, it all begins with trust. It all begins with trust as well. So of course that happens with the coach. Master Krauss, we are at the end of our time. I do want to give a shout out though. Your Instagram handle is right there on your name, at Krauss Manor, and you guys can follow him on Instagram. And then so are you currently in Sao Paulo? Are you doing when do you start your next tours for seminars and things?
Actually, I am here already. I'm in New York.
Oh, oh,
I'm
oh.
in
So
New
we're
York right
same
now.
time
I'm
zone
going
then.
back to
Okay,
Brazil. I'm going back to Brazil Tuesday.
gotcha.
I got here in America on January 17th, and I'm going back Brazil February 18th. So I have a
Is
private
that
class
the
at 5, and then Sunday I will be at a police academy, the NYPD Police Academy for the seminar there. And Tuesday I'm heading back to Brazil. I'll be back
you
in the
know
West Coast. In the West Coast, I'll be back in April, May for a tour. Texas, Arizona, California, probably Canada too. And the second semester, I come to the East Coast.
I just left Master Sensei Bruno Bastos in Texas, and his Grandmaster Wendell was there, and
When
I
is
was
from my
talking
generation.
to him about you, and I was telling him that at Master Krauss's seminar, I was so like. The seminar was so good, like bringing you in because you took 40, 50 years of jujitsu and you made it so simple. And I think
Oh,
anybody who
thank you.
brings you in
Yeah.
for a seminar needs to understand that sometimes we can complicate jujitsu because there's
Yes,
so many variations. And when we brought you in, you had adults and you had children on the mat together, and you
yes.
you really simplified and helped open up our mind to jujitsu, and I learned that at the seminar as well because I was with a room full of black belts. There was more black belts in the room I was in than there was white belts, purple, brown, and white. And at your seminars that you teach, you make things so easy to digest, so easy to understand. And I hope that you're available to come back and do more of those in the United States because a lot of schools could use you.
Always, always. Just let me know the dates, and I put on my agenda. I'm gonna be there. It'll be a pleasure.
Awesome.
We're
Well,
gonna have to keep that up, Coach David.
And
I
for
appreciate.
some moment, if you meet Professor Wendell again, tell him that I say hello. Our schools, Kyoto and Nova União, we always fighting for the first positions in the 90s and beginning of the 2000s in Brazil. Always. We
Yeah,
know that we're going to be in the podium. The big fight was to see who's going to be the first one. So
yeah,
sometimes, like until 4 to 6 at Kyoto, 7 to 9 was Nova União, 10 to 12 was Nova União, 13 to 15 was Kyoto. Always like that. Always fighting against each other. That's pretty
yeah.
funny.
And I
We had a lot of competition, but always respectful. Always
very nice
respectful.
man, very
Always
nice man. Yeah,
respectful. We never argue with each other. We never, no, always. We got mad when the students lose, like, oh, I lost. Like, ah. But
yeah,
always,
yeah,
oh, it's okay. Shake the hands. He's a gentleman.
yeah. I'll tell him you said hello. It was very good having you
I
on, and we
appreciate
look
that.
forward to connecting with you again.
Well,
I appreciate that.
appreciate you guys' time. Thank you, Professor Cross. If you guys are Master Cross, excuse me. If you guys are following this, follow Master Cross on the Instagram. You can reach out to him, DM him for any seminars, and then you can also, if you're following wherever you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, like, subscribe, hit a thumbs up, send it to your boy, whatever, and then and that's pretty much it for the. We'll be back. We're doing these, trying to do these every Friday, so you guys can kind of dog your calendar for them as they flex. If we have special guests in, they might flex a little bit. So as always, you guys, we'll see you on the mats.
On the mats.
Thanks so much for the